factors. In fact, if you remember this slide that we have discussed in previous week, the factors affecting aliphatic nucleophilic substitution reactions. Normally we term this as SN reactions. So one of the factor I haven't presented here, which is about the nature of substrate. When we shall cover all type of SN, then we shall discuss that. Because just studying the three reaction, we cannot get that study here. So I have skipped the nature of substrate. Mean what is the structure of the substrate. So I haven't presented that here. That shall be clear when we shall finish this all type of SN reactions. So we shall discuss that in the end. But these are the factors that we can conclude from these three reactions you have come across: SN1, SN2, and SNI reactions. So two factors you have already come across: nature of the leaving group. So leaving group, if it is having a high solvation energy, so just like iodide have the highest value -68, so it shall be the best leaving group. On the other hand, down the group, the leavingness of the group increases because it shows high solvation energy. In fact, high solvation because it has a negative sign. This value down the group is increasing, not decreasing. By magnitude, this is decreasing, but in fact, this have a negative sign. So down the group, it is increasing, in fact. So second important concept that you have come across in this case, a leaving group about, you have seen if we have a OH group, it is not that much stable. But comparing with this acetate group, which also have a negative charge on oxygen, this is resonance stabilized, have two resonance form. If you focus on this type of system, sulfonates, so sulfonate have oxygen negative charge like these two previously, but it has three resonance form possible. So it means this ion is more stable than acetate. Acetate is more stable than hydroxyl ion. If you look at the chlorate ion, where we have also an oxygen carrying a negative charge, but this has four resonance stabilizations. So due to this having two resonance form, three resonance form, four resonance form, if we are moving from left to right, the resonance stability is increasing. So if the leaving group is a stable entity, then it shall not reverse the reaction. If it is not a stable, then it shall reverse the reaction. So this is if we are using sulfonate or chlorates, they are the best leaving group. There is no diversity in chlorates because we don't have any, we cannot get anything change. There is no diversity. But for sulfonates, you see we have an aryl group present or alkyl group present. We can get a change. These may be electron donating, these may be electron withdrawing. So as a result, we shall have a different reactivity of these. So this is the reason why I have introduced these 7 different type of sulfonates. 4 of them were alkyl sulfonates, 3 of them were aryl sulfonates. So you have come across this already. So if a leaving group forms a more stable intermediate like this one, so it shall be not reversing the reaction. If it is unstable, definitely it shall reverse the reaction. So equilibrium shall establish. So if we are having a good leaving group, just like sulfonates, so they shall be resonance stabilized. The equilibrium shall be in forward direction only, mean the reaction shall not be reversible. It shall be only proceeding in forward direction. So this is what you have already come across. Another factor you have come across, nature of nucleophile. You have very well studied in the previously addition reaction about the role of nucleophile. A good nucleophile is a worst base. Such base which is worst, it is not a good base, is a good nucleophile. And a good nucleophile is the worst base. This is opposite. So nucleophilicity and basicity, this is totally opposite to each other. So anyhow, this is just a repetition that you have already come across. but I have exemplified this with the help of charged and uncharged nucleophiles. So no doubt, charged nucleophile is more having a high reaction rate if you are comparing with the uncharged. In both cases, alcohols are forming, but what is the difference? This is charged, this is uncharged nucleophile. Charged nucleophile, let's say this molecule is polarized, so carbon, bromine, polarization, this carbon is electron deficient. If it is charged nucleophile, then it shall have electrostatic forces of attraction, so its rate reaction shall be higher. I have presented the K1 versus K2. This is 5,000 faster than with water. Why? Because there are electrostatic forces of attraction between substrate and nucleophile. In other words, we can say this is a reagent. Very similar, if we are using, this is a different type of mechanism, SN1 mechanism is happening. So in that case, this either we are using OH, we are using water, charged or uncharged nucleophile, reaction rate is not affected. They have same reaction, because if you have seen mechanistically, SN1 reaction proceed in two steps. The second step is a fast rated step. The first one is a slow rated, which involve only substrate, but it doesn't involve any other type of the nucleophile. So this is a reason in SN2 reaction, the nucleophile nature does make a difference. But if it is following SN1 reaction, the nature of nucleophile doesn't affect it. So if you are having a, in fact, charged nucleophile following SN1 mechanism, which is useless, you may have uncharged. Both of them shall have the same reaction rate, in fact. So this is something you have seen in previous class about the factors. We are going to switch over to another factor, which is the polarity of solvent. Polarity of solvent is also very important, because I have just simply presented here. Let's say we have a X group, which is we commonly call leaving group, bonded to a carbon. This is sp3 hybridized carbon. So due to difference in electronegativity, this carbon X is no doubt always more electronegative, maybe oxygen, maybe nitrogen, maybe sulfur, maybe phosphorus, or it may be halogens. So all of them have electronegativity higher than carbon. So there shall be a partial negative charge on this X group and partial positive charge on this carbon system. So due to this reason, what happens that in this case, this bond becomes polarized. More is the electronegativity of this X, more shall be charge separation. Let's say if it is a fluorine atom, it shall have the highest electronegativity. For carbon 2.5, 2.4, 2.45 is the actual value. So this is an approximately a difference of 1.5 Pauling's unit, which is very high. So if it is fluorine, this bond shall be highest polarized. If it is chlorine, it shall be less polarized. If it is bromine, so as we are moving down the group, electronegativity is decreasing, the extent of this delta value decreases. So if it is more difference, there shall be more charge separation, and more charge separation shall be affected by the solvent polarity as well. So if it is, let's say, we are doing this reaction, the X is same. Let's say this is chlorine. Suppose if we are doing a reaction in a polar solvent, if we are doing a reaction in non-polar solvent, let's say we are doing a reaction in diethyl ether, which is a non-polar solvent, right? Versus we are doing this reaction in methanol. Methanol is a, so it is in fact polar solvent. If you look at the dielectric constant, it is very different. If one reaction we are doing in diethyl ether, other we are doing in water, there is a huge difference in dielectric constant. Because polarity, solvent polarity or the polarity of solvent is dependent upon the charge separation. And this charge separation we normally calculate if it is having dielectric constant. So dielectric constant, if it is following a SN2 mechanism, the high polarity shall not favor SN2 reaction. Why? Because if it is having a solvent is having a high polarity, then it shall favor the dissociation of this bond. If you have seen in the very first lecture I have presented hydrolytic cleavage. So this X having a high negative charge, if the polarity of solvent is polar, it is methanol or it is, let's say, water, it shall prefer to leave these electrons. So this X shall take these electron here, a positive charge shall be generated, which is favoring SN1 reaction. If you remember mechanistically, if a cation is produced, it favors SN1. So SN2 is in SN2 mechanism, which is concerted mechanism, there is no formation of carbocation. So SN2 reactions, it means, are not favored in a polar solvent. If let's say we are doing a reaction in non-polar solvent, it may be proceeding via SN2 mechanism. Now let's see if we increase the polarity. So it shall follow, keeping in mind, here I should introduce the structure of the substrate that I omitted here after the discussion. If you have a primary carbon, it shall always undergo SN2. There is no possibility it is going 1% even by SN1 mechanism. If it is a primary carbon, it shall always undergo SN2. If it is a tertiary carbon, it shall always undergo SN1. There is no possibility of SN2. But if it is a secondary carbon, then it can follow SN1 and SN2 both. Now here we control it. If we are doing this reaction in low polar solvent, then it shall favor SN2, but it doesn't mean SN1 is not competing. Both are competing with each other. If we are doing in low polar solvent, SN2 shall be favored, mean shall produce major product, and minor shall be SN1 mechanism. But if we are using a high polar solvent, then it shall follow more SN1 mechanism and minor product shall be a SN2 products. So this is very important to understand. For primary carbon, it doesn't make any difference what solvent we are using. It may affect the reaction rate. If let's say we are using polar solvent, so it shall retard the reaction rate, but shall follow SN2 100%. If it is a tertiary carbon, it shall always proceed SN1 whatsoever is the solvent. But if it is secondary carbon, then the polarity of solvent does make a difference. Let's say we have a secondary carbon which have a leaving group. Then if it is leaving in low polar solvent, then it shall favor SN2 mechanism. But it doesn't mean SN1 is not followed. SN1 shall also be followed. It shall be minor. It shall be not recessive. It shall be recessive mechanism, not dominating mechanism. But if we are carrying out the same reaction, same secondary carbon, but high polarity of solvent increases. Let's say from diethyl ether we switch over to acetonitrile or ethanol or water. So if we are increasing the polarity, then SN1 shall start dominating over the SN2. This is the overall difference that I was interested to explain in this case. The same I have written here. SN1 are favored by increase in polarity. This we are talking about secondary carbon, keeping in mind. I'm not talking about here about the primary or tertiary carbon. If it is primary carbon, it shall always undergo SN2 mechanism. If it is a tertiary carbon, it shall always undergo a simple SN1 mechanism. If it is secondary carbon, then the solvent shall make a big difference. So SN1 for a secondary carbon are favored by increasing polarity, but SN2 are disfavored by increase in polarity. This is a totally opposite trend in fact. Another important aspect that I am also interested to explain here is the common ion effect. Common ion effect is what? Let's say we are doing a reaction in acetic acid and we are using acetate as a nucleophile. Now you see over solvent. Solvent ionizes, produces H positive ion and produces what? Acetate ion and water. Now acetic acid, which is a solvent, it is also producing acetate ion, and we have already added acetate ion. So acetate ion concentration is increasing, or we can say these acetate ion may be protonated to generate acetate ions. So if the concentration of nucleophile is increased, all right, so it basically favors SN2 rather SN1. Why? When there are more nucleophile present during common ion effect. So if the, because in case of common ion effect, the concentration of nucleophile is increased. If its concentration is increased, then the nucleophile concentration in SN2 it is dependent, but for SN1 reaction it is independent of concentration of nucleophile for SN1. So that's why if we are common ion effect shall affect the reaction rate of a SN2 reaction. SN1 reaction shall not be affected by that. So this is a very interesting example that if we are doing, we are studying the common ion effect, right? Let's say we are using chloride ion as a source of nucleophile, right? So we use the chloride ion, sodium chloride, and we add HCl to that. Now the chloride ion concentration increases. So when the chloride ion concentration is increased, so common ion effect is showing that it shall affect the reaction. If it is proceeding via SN2, so the reaction rate for SN2 reaction shall increase, because in SN2 mechanism, the concentration of a nucleophile does make a difference. But if it is following SN1 reaction, then the reaction rate shall not be affected. So this is a clue that our reaction is proceeding what mechanism we can study with common ion effect. So we add a common ion, mean the nucleophile, its concentration will increases. And if we observe a change in the reaction rate, mean it is following SN2 mechanism. But if it is unchanged, so definitely it is following SN1 mechanism. This is how practically we can perform. You have seen in the beginning of the first 2-3 week study about this mechanistic study, the kinetic studies in fact. So anyhow, this is one of the factor as well. The polarity of the solvent does make a difference as well. Now let's see, proceed further. Steric factor. Steric factor is also important because when our molecule are three-dimensional, when they are three-dimensional, so they are having a, in fact, in all axes, what groups are around them does make a big difference. So let's see, I have exemplified here one example. Let's say we have R1, R2, R3 are the three alkyl groups attached to a carbon atom. If the leaving group leaves, so it generates a carbocation. You are familiar with the SN1 mechanism, which generates a carbocation. So this carbocation generation, now if let's say we have different possibilities. If a hydroxyl ion proceeds towards this OH group. OH group, you see, if it approaches this carbon, so it can approach from top group here, top group there, so it shall result two isomers. So we are not talking about that mechanism. Just compare. If we have three different nucleophile we are discussing at the moment. First, OH negative. This is having a negative charge on oxygen. Look at this group, which is ethoxide ion. It also have carrying a negative charge on oxygen. Look at this tertiary butoxy group. Again, oxygen carrying a negative charge. In all these cases, we are having oxygen nucleophile, but all of them are not good nucleophile. Look at here. This oxygen carries negative charge. This oxygen carry negative charge. This oxygen carry negative charge. This carbon is attached with carbon. This oxygen is attached with carbon. This oxygen is attached with hydrogen. If you remember, hydrogen is neither electron donating nor electron withdrawing. It is not electron donating or electron withdrawing. So if it is hydrogen attached, it is not increasing electronic density on oxygen or not decreasing as well. So it has no effect on this negative charge. But in case of a ethyl group, it is electron donating. It is plus I. It is electron donating by inductive effect. So it is a plus I group. But if you look at here, this carbon is more electron donating because 3 carbons are attached with it. All of them are electron donating. So it is donating more electronic density, increasing electron density on oxygen, making it a good nucleophile. Now this tertiary butoxide is a good nucleophile, or if I make a comparison, the best nucleophile among these 3 is this one. This is the best nucleophile because it carries more negative charge. This is the moderate. It contains negative charge. This is a moderate nucleophile. This is not a good nucleophile. OH is a good base, but it is not a good nucleophile. So in this case, if they are, let's say, if this group is reacting, we are reacting the same substrate with sodium hydroxide, let's say, that it has a rate constant K1. Now look at the other one. If we have this nucleophile ethoxyidine, it has a rate constant K2. If we have a tertiary butoxide, it has a rate constant 3. When we compare them, we observe K1, K2, and K3 are in this order. K1 means this is the fastest reaction rate, although this is a good base, but not a good nucleophile, but this is giving you a good, it is giving you a relatively higher reaction rate, which is against the theory concept. K2, which is uh, basically better nucleophile than this, is should be having higher rate constant than K1, but it's having lower. And K3, which is the best nucleophile, should have the highest rate constant, but it's opposite. So this order is supposed to be reverted, but it is not. So it means the nucleophilicity is not observed in this case. So what is the case? If we have OH, you see, if we replace hydrogen by ethyl, this group is sterically more crowded. In fact, steric crowding is increased here. And if this is sterically most crowded group, so when the steric crowding is increasing around the nucleophilic atom in a nucleophile, then it causes a decrease in its nucleophilicity. According to concept, this is the best nucleophile. This is the moderate nucleophile. This is the worst nucleophile. But you observe the worst nucleophile is showing you highest reaction rate, and the best nucleophile is giving the slowest reaction rate. This is what is being observed. So it means not only the nucleophilicity is important, but the steric factor is also important. What group is attached to a nucleophile, this is also very important. This is what I have tried to highlight in this case. So in case SN1 is disfavored by steric crowding, because if you remember, you have a sterically crowded group is present, and we are having here steric crowding R1, R2, R3, they are also sterically crowded. So SN1 reactions are disfavored by steric crowding. On the other hand, if it is SN2, in SN2 mechanism, you see no carbocation generate. The carbon is normally primary. So primary carbon can afford this group which is having the steric hindrance. So SN2 is favored by steric crowding because if there is more steric crowding around a heteroatom with negative charge, it is a better nucleophile. And if you remember, the concentration of nucleophile is important in SN2 reaction because it is first order with respect to them. So it does make a big difference. If you have a good nucleophile, then SN2 reaction shall be favored and its reaction rate shall be increased. If you are reacting hydroxyline versus the ethoxide versus nucleophile, and if the substrate is having a primary carbon, then this order shall be reversed. It shall have, this shall be having the fastest reaction rate, then this one, and least reaction rate we shall have with hydroxyline if it is a primary carbon. So this is, I have focused on SN1. So SN1 are disfavored by steric crowding, whereas SN2 are favored by steric crowding. I hope this is very clear to all of you.